Okay, we are getting ready to move. We are in the process of staging our house. We are moving across the mountains. We just put an offer on a house today. So like things are bananas here. But something that I've been working on for the last couple of months is trying to eat down some of the food storage that we had in our pantry. There's a couple of videos for that, but also in our freezer space. So I'm going to give you a quick short video of what is going on in our freezers. And I'm trying to work around Mike working on construction here at the house, so this is going to be pretty quick. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is the Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. And one of those things is having zero food waste. So it's really important to me that I keep my food inventory rotated. I make a lot of batch cooked meals, so I don't have to cook dinner every night. We put all of those meals videos on a playlist. We'll link those in the description if you would like to see the different kinds of meals that we make. But this is a peek in my freezer, and you'll see over the next 6 weeks how we're able to get this freezer almost completely empty. Up here at the top, I have super cubes. I normally home can my chicken and beef broth, but since I have packed up all of my canning supplies, I have my chicken and beef broth right here, so it's easy to use, and I can just pop these out and put them into dishes. And then over here, I have some meals that are prepped. I have some 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐶 kielbasa here, and there's some chili, and then there's a little bit of pumpkin and squash that I add to different muffins. So these are things that I want to make sure that I'm using up, and also the broth between now and when we move, because we are moving 4 hours. These are not going to travel at all. Some of the other things that I have are some meals here that are not labeled, which is kind of funny. Normally I'm really good about labeling them with Sharpie on there. I have known that everything I put in here I'm going to be rotating out in the next couple weeks, so I haven't worried too much about putting dates on them. There's some Reuben in here from St. Patrick's Day to make Reuben sandwiches or Reuben hash, and there's some taco meat in these small containers right here. I know there's one tortellini bake here, and then we have one Mexican quinoa at the bottom, and there are 2 lasagnas that are left. Normally we don't have so much lasagna, but we had ended up making lasagna like we normally do at Christmas time, and then we made another batch to make videos, and then we ended up being on a newspaper in the UK, so we had to make a 3rd batch of lasagna this year. So we've had tons of lasagna, but these are all meals that are ready to go that we haven't eaten yet that will be great for a busy night. And then I have some berries in this basket that we use for smoothies. Again, this is something that I want to make sure that we're using up before we move. These are not going to travel well when we do make the move, and we will be taking the freezer with us. So I have some tips about that. We'll do that once we're back upstairs though, because this is going to start dinging at any second. And then down here in this basket, I do have some bacon left and some Canadian bacon. I have some mozzarella cheese upstairs so we can make pizza at any time. Here's some pork chops and kielbasa. This is more pork chops back here, and then this is all of our chicken. I like getting them in these individual bags. There's 2 breasts in each bag, so we have many meals that we can make here. These white packages of the meat is the last of the meat from our 2023 delivery. So currently it is May 2025, and this will probably go up either really soon in May or at the beginning of June. And then down here at the very, very bottom are 2 packages of the brand new hamburger from our new delivery. I haven't even used any of that yet. So the new meat came vacuum sealed, and I haven't actually even used any of the new meat yet from the new order. We want to do a full video on that after the garage is a little more emptied out, that I can lay this out on Mike's workbench so we can show you exactly how I buy meat every 2 to 2.5 years, and we always have what we need here at the house. Here in the door we have some Kerrygold butter. This is some pasta sauce that I had made that's homemade. There's a little bit more of beef stock right here in these jars, and a jar of chili that I did for Mike. There are a couple bags of Roma tomatoes in there from our harvest last year that I was planning on making some ketchup or some barbecue sauce. Those will be okay okay to defrost a little bit if they do defrost on our way over when we are moving, if I don't get those taken care of before we move. It just depends on how quickly our house sells, but we do need to be making some ketchup soon. So that is one thing I'm not worried about actually using up before we leave. And then there's a whole chicken down there, which I will just throw in the Instapot, totally frozen one night, and be able to have a whole chicken. And then we always keep a couple loaves of either bread or gyros on hand, and I probably have some tortillas upstairs in the refrigerator freezer that's up in the house. And then I always keep some extra yeast in the freezer, even though I don't like to bake bread very often because I like to eat bread if I bake it. But I keep some yeast there at the very bottom in a jar. I have our pandemic sourdough starter that I can revive at any time and have a sourdough bread if I wanted to have it. So that's just kind of a peek of things that are in this freezer. We'll give you a quick little shot of what's in the chest freezer, which is the half of a beef. We will do that full video later. So this is a chest freezer. This is jammed packed with all of the meat that we are going to move from the half beef that we just got. Again, we haven't used any of this beef. I've been waiting to film a video and using up the rest of the old beef that we had in the freezer. Since we do have about 600 pounds of meat in that chest freezer, that's all brand new, we are going to move that meat out of the freezer into coolers, then put the freezer onto the trailer and then add the meat back in. We want to make sure it stays inside the freezer while we're traveling. While we're still packing up things on moving day, we'll have the freezer plugged in while it was on the trailer. If you were moving more than like 4 hours away, you could also have a generator attached whenever you stop to get gas to just have it run for like another hour. That will keep your meat frozen the whole entire time. So anything that is in our freezers that we can use up, that are meals or those berries, we're going to try to use up before we leave so we can make sure that we have a light as load as we can, because 600 pounds is going to be a lot of meat to move. When we made this order over 2 years ago, we didn't know we'd be moving right when it was getting delivered. So it's just the way things are sometimes, but we are so thankful that we have the meat that will be what we use for the next couple of years. Every 2 weeks, I post the meals videos. I know we've edited number 8, we filmed number 9, I'm working on number 10. I don't know when this video will go up, but it's kind of fun that you can see the progress every 2 weeks of things that are happening in our lives and how it is affecting our grocery budget, which is not at all. And we are able to stick to our $135 per person grocery budget, but our meals change throughout the seasons, and it's fun to watch those videos and see how we're dealing with our daily lives and having meals on the table.